for such a long time. And then with Look Up, we actually had a problem with that because how do you put two songs that are both melancholy back to back? Like you would never do that in an album. And I was like, well, we got to do it. We got to make sure that we go even lower than that because he thought he was gonna have a good time. And I think the thing too for me was that like I got to really just do something abstract, kind of weird. And at first people were like, "What are you doing? What do you mean no backgrounds?" I was like, "No backgrounds. I really feel like he's just floating in this dark, dark, dark place." And you can only do that with Peanuts. Like I don't think I could do that with like SpongeBob or anything else. And so
Hmm.
that song, once that song came in, like we had waited so long, I was so moved by it. I spent all night storyboarding that myself, and just like the sun was coming up, and I did the animatic, and I delivered it, and it was just so moving. And the emotional part of it just drove me to just keep going, and it turned out to be my favorite as well. As much as I loved Liza Cloud, because I got to, I put in young Charlie Brown, and that was really moving, and it was a tribute to Charles Schultz with all of the different um, versions of Charlie Brown to
Yeah.
see like his progression as an artist to where we got to now. And it was fun, and but yeah, for some reason, Look Up became really moving, and I think having his dog reach out his hand to him, like that was cool. I was like,
Yeah.
I got to do this, and I'm so glad that so many people feel the same way.
Can I
Yeah, I
interject
was
with a
really
question?
intrigued. Sorry, I was really intrigued by what you said about putting two melancholy tracks back to back. I think that might speak to some people's, well, I want to say criticisms, or maybe just kind of a certain sense of incongruence in
Uh-huh.
comments of pacing. But I felt it. I felt the lower, much more melancholy impact that
Yeah,
was delivered in the second piece.
yeah, yeah. I'm so glad. I think in a way it actually kind of worked in our favor that like you're not expecting to have another dark piece, and then it hits you. I know, and I think everybody did want to have like a happier, upbeat thing, but and that's what Charlie Brown felt, right? So that was cool. Cool.
Um, can I interject with a quick question?
Dude,
Go ahead,
absolutely.
Dan.
Let's
Um,
go for it.
so, and I'm sure people can come up with more, but we were kind of one of the things that we were speculating and like how we've been talking about the special for like the past day is
Yeah,
we were because Charlie Brown's voice actor and Sally's voice actress, they did most of the heavy singing. We were wondering
yeah.
if maybe like you guys maybe tested the different VAs out and whether they had maybe exceptional talent and were chosen to take on the bulk of that work, or if it was just a creative decision to have them sing, or just if that played any role whatsoever in it, would be very
Right, right.
interesting to know.
It it turned out that Sally, who's a lot of these kids are the voice actors for the Snoopy show, and so we were able to get them back. And some of them were starting to age up. And Sally, thankfully, she could sing. And same thing with the I'm sorry, I don't remember their names. It's been a while. And same thing for Lucy. She could also sing. Linus couldn't sing, and Linus was getting older. So unfortunately, like that maybe you may have noticed that like I didn't use Linus as much. Um, there was about 10 minutes that I had to cut for time because I had to keep it at that 40 minutes. But so they did have there was more of like the B characters in there. But anyway, back to your point. So Sally thankfully could sing. Charlie Brown, the voice actor, could not sing. So we had to, I mean, it was a big search. And then we found Jade, and it just we would play them back to back. We would listen to Charlie Brown, we would listen to Jade, and we had probably like five other singers, and they were all very close. And but we felt like Jade just had that thing. Even his speaking voice was very Charlie Brown. Like that was really cool. So yeah, I mean that was it for us. Um, and then I think we also hired a few other young singers for like some of the background vocals that you hear. So that's kind of it, you know. I hope that
I
answered.
honestly, hearing that, I'm super surprised that you guys brought on a whole new voice actor for Charlie Brown, because they sound
Yeah,
so similar. I
they
didn't even
do.
know that.
They do. At one point, we needed to change the dialogue a little bit, and we had Jade do some temp track for us, and there was even some discussion of like maybe we'll get away with it. And I was like, well, we can't. We got to bring back the original, the kid Etienne to do it. Because the other thing too, it's like just like with any like TV show or movie, like everybody has their schedule, and you get them for a certain time slot, and then suddenly like if you want them for more, then it costs more. You know, and so that was one of those like moments, but it was like we have to bring him back. Yeah.
Have you have you looked back at different like previous like Snoopy or like Charlie Brown musical specials for like stylistic or like cues that you wanted to incorporate into the special?
I didn't. I really wanted to avoid that actually. I mean,
Ah, okay.
I'm such a fan of a lot of the Peanuts specials, but I wanted to avoid that. What I did watch, and I'm already a fan of like Sound of Music, Rocky Horror Picture Show, West Side Story, um, and also I love Danny Boyle and the way he cuts feels like a musical. And I'll say also Blues Brothers, I consider it a musical, and there's a certain kind of rhythm and pacing to a lot of those
Hmm.
cuts, and I sort of feel like with some of those musicals, they're not afraid to sort of go into music video territory with like just abstract cutting from like, hey, we're here and then we're here. And so that's what sort of allowed me to do what I call time travel within Light as a Cloud and also make it better. Um, I'm playing with time, and make it better. There's the scene with Sally and Charlie Brown, putting up those photos. And so you sort of go, well, when did they do that? And you sort of have to think, oh, they did that right after they found the box. And it was during that first montage that they were preparing for everything. Um, and you can kind of cut that way. And then same thing for Light as a Cloud, like, that the wall of photos sort of became my time travel device to, match up how Sally was finally paralleling a lot of experiences that Charlie Brown was, which she was so reluctant to do, but she found her own way through it and then started to understand. But also gets to show us, Charlie Brown's experience and then also flash forward as well. Like you kind of wondering like where are some of these pieces and you're extending a few days within that music video. And I always think about one of the first songs in Sound of Music when Julie Andrews is finally leaving the nunnery and she'll walk down a path and then she'll turn and then she's in a completely different time zone in a completely different location. And I sort of felt like, Steal from the Best from Robert Weiss. And so that's what made me feel free to do some abstract cutting.
That's what I feel like why like the music really feels like served its, I feel like the way that you put that stylistic approach towards the music really
Yeah,
served into the special because previous specials, the singing, don't get me wrong, like it's still great, but if you watch the very first Charlie Brown special, the singing was very amateurish. Like Lee
yeah,
Mendelsohn admitted, like it's very amateurish, it's very like raw,
yeah,
down
yeah,
to the point. But I feel with your approach, it's like it serves a lot more than
right,
just it being like a song. And I
right.
think it really does the special well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I am a fan of those old musicals, but I haven't seen them and I still haven't, and I want to revisit them actually. But I remember when I was a kid, I loved them, you know. And
Are
that
we talking
whole
about the
thing,
animations or the stage versions or both?
the animation. I've never seen the stage version. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah. But you know, that whole thing of like the kids being amateurs, like I do love that. And we did want some of that in there, but it just, you know, sometimes like with story, the story wants to be what it wants to be, and same thing with like the musical. But you know, with the actual song making, I really wanted to avoid it going into Disney territory, into Frozen. It just didn't like. I sort of feel like as much as I love what we did in Dandelion, Ben didn't arrange it. He didn't record it, and his version is so great. And you know, I love what we ended up with on Dandelion, but it got to a place where it was so polished that when I got to do this, it was like, hey, I really just want a small band for all of these things. And I don't want to get into like a lot of orchestral stuff. You know, we can pepper it in here and there. And it was interesting too. And I mean, this isn't being recorded, is it?
It might
I
be.
thought oh, okay.
I
It
don't.
might be.
I love your work
I
on
wouldn't be surprised if it ends up on YouTube, to be honest.
I kind of like
It
the
was,
theme in the moment and for us, but I mean, it is what it is.
yeah. It was also this thing too where you know we start they you know you have executives and they have their people, and so you start working with their people, and I was like, this is sounding like, you know, a Disney musical. I don't want this. And I told Ben, and he's like, all right, let me just sit in on a record. And he just took over, and it was exactly what we needed. And I was so grateful for him to do that, because normally I don't think that he has the time, but you know, we hit it off, and he knew what I was going after, and you know, I think he also was like, hey, we have something really special. It was just so great to work with him. So yeah, you know, he came in and he recorded all the voices. He went above and beyond, and he would send me his mixes at like 3 a.m. on a text, you know, for me to hear it. And it was great. It was really a lot of fun, and I'm so glad
You know,
that he
I'm just
did it. And
relishing the fact that you speak of Ben in first name terms.
Yeah.
That's cool to me. You know,
yeah,
I have a
because
question.
this guy that I've revered most of my life, literally.
yeah.
That's
Well,
his
I can tell
coworker.
you, he's a great guy. It was such a wonderful collaboration.
Could
Yeah,
I ask another question sort of on that
dude,
topic?
go absolutely go for it.
So, you know, with the talk of Mr. Folds, we
Yeah,
also saw, and it's another thing that we've been in the rounds of our discussions, that you
yeah,
brought some Broadway experts in to consult on some of the songs. And
no,
one of the questions that I'm kind of wondering is, when you're writing a musical, um, the the different kinds of moving pieces in terms
yeah,
of Ben Folds, his lyrics, and who, you know, whoever else might have contributed to different songs, as well as just general writing and your directing. Like,
yeah,
from the outside looking in, that seems like a lot of moving pieces at once. And if
yeah.
you could just give us an insight into how all of that fits together, that'd be really cool.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I, none of us had done the musical before. We didn't know. And so we just thought, yeah, let's just jump in and we'll figure it out as we go along. Um, you know, I knew, how did I say this? The opening, those first two songs feel more like a Broadway kind of songs, right? They sort of sound like Into the Woods or, you know, Wicked, where it's almost like you're singing dialogue. And I needed that, like, because I needed to get a lot of story and exposition to happen, and I didn't want to like stop a song to do it. And also, I was aware of how much time that we have the 40 minutes. And also, I just wanted to get it going, you know. So we kind of almost start with the song pretty much right away, right after we do Snoopy. So those were the only two parts that I knew I needed to have a musical. And so we also had Alan Zachary and Michael Weiner on there. And they are from that place. They're from that Broadway kind of place. And so we did have discussions about that. And I thought they knocked it out of the park. Those two songs are so catchy. And even there, it was like, but hey, like, and they were already familiar with Ben Folds, and they were really, fans. And so we just like listened to all that stuff, and Fiona Apple and Jack White, and just being
Oh man,
aware of
Apple.
some stuff. Yeah, and some of Fiona's songs. I mean, and the sort of magical quality of having a few of the orchestral things back there. I really liked, but that piano and how rough that piano is, and so that was the same conversation with Zach and Michael. Is we can be a little bit more raw, and I thought they did a great job. So there's that part. And what
Well,
would
yeah,
happen
that's
is, I just want to answer your question a little bit more, which is to say that like we had the script, and but there would just be like musical number here, like, and it would just be like, here's what we want to have happen ideally, and then you storyboard and you come up with some visual ideas of what might happen in there, and then I show those visuals to the composer, and we go back and forth. And some of the dialogue that I had in the first song is what they just sort of used, and they would change the phrasing around and have it work into the like that whole all that dialogue in the very beginning with Sally and Charlie Brown going back and forth and it kind of becoming the song. That was all dialogue that I wrote. And even stuff where they're on the bus, they were able to take that. And then the same thing with Ben. I would do a lot of drawings for him, and some concept art, and I would say like, this is what I'm imagining, and going back to look up, um, that wrestling with like, hey, we got to do another melancholy scene, and I was just thinking, he doesn't want to get off that stage, and it's the one moment where you sort of have to have this sort of magical realism, and he doesn't want to give up, and whatever he does, like, he won't look up, and he went, that's it. And it was actually like Lucy's line. She's like, look up, Charlie Brown, it's over. And he just sort of held on to that, and he goes, I'm going away now. So there's that part, and then he sends it to you, and what you had in mind changes. Oh, and one last thing I'll say. Sometimes you get a song and then you go, I'm going to change the sequence before it. So it's this constant game in a way. It becomes this fun little game of like, oh, these lyrics conjure up this, but I need to set it up. So I'm going to go back here, or it's going to change something in the ending. But yeah, I mean, I just sort of thought of it like a game. And, most SpongeBob and Sonic and a lot of other stuff, like the filmmaking, like when you're in there, there's kind of a game component of like, I'm not going to let you beat me and be something terrible. um, Even though that's happened, no matter what you do. But yeah, I hope that answered your question.
I think so.
It
Yeah,
might be messy. It might be a messy answer, but I think I gave you your question.
it's fine. I mean,
Also,
yeah, it's
Eric, I
really,
have a question.
Yeah,
Wait,
for sure.
I have never mind. It's not a question. It's like a thing to say, I guess. But like,
Okay.
I have to like admit, like your work on like Look Up was pretty amazing to me.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I that one's
And
that
and I
one.
and I also love your work on SpongeBob too. Like I've been a
Thanks.
fan since I was like a baby.
That hurts what you just said at the end.
Yeah. I'm not even kidding by that. Like I had like SpongeBob everything.
That's great. That's great. Thanks, man. I appreciate the
Is,
comment.
You're welcome,
is,
man. You're welcome.
is it possible for me to interject here?
Yeah.
yeah.
This isn't a question. I just wanted to say, like, I'm having a lot of thoughts just thinking over the special, but
Yeah.
that Look Up song admittedly almost got me a little choked up towards the end. I don't even know why. I think it was the visuals, but also, I don't know, like, just I don't know if I'd say the hope, like seeing like everyone there, like finally show up and
Yeah.
just seeing Charlie Brown, like his hope rise. I'm terrible at analyzing things, but
No, that's fine. Yeah, listen, I think that there's also some people who have the same difficulty of like, why am I getting choked up? And the song is an abstract song as well. And, I think that part of what's happening for you, and I think what has happened to me, like when I was listening to that song and just couldn't stop drawing all night, was his refusal to not give up hope, and then for his dog to like say, hey, like we're here for you. Woof. Like I was just like, I can't, and we've screened it a couple times during, editorial and stuff, and to see people get choked up. And also um, to get feedback from Apple where they were like, we actually cried in the screening. You're like, that's
Oh
Aw.
my
great.
god.
That's great. That's what I want to hear. And I get choked up. And I think also having that very special experience of getting that song from Ben and just like feeling that. And one other thing about that sequence, and I think that, why is it feeling that way? That magical realism is because there is a connection with him and God. There's a lot of shots where we're looking down at him, and he's saying it's basically like there's some comics where he's like why
That's
are you
really
doing
interesting.
this, God? And the lighting through the trees is also God. However you want to imagine, believe what God is to you, and that's what that is. And I think that again, magical realism in a way, but like his refusing to leave is the power that brings everybody back together. And so I think that might be why it's moving. And also Snoopy. We love Snoopy, and for Snoopy to be there for his guy is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I
Um,
will say, I'll throw in a little quick thing. It was nice seeing the Snoopy siblings show up again. I'm kind of biased, but
There's a moment again, like I was saying, you can only fit so much, but there was one shot where he's writing to them, and it's like, hey, we're gonna do this thing, like show up. But I
Oh,
think
I'm
it still
sad.
works.
That sucks that wasn't included.
I always wanted to do that shot of like him doing the typing. I was like, oh, I'm gonna do to be able to do Lucy do a rant and to have Snoopy kiss her on the nose, like that's also legacy, right? And I was like,
Yes.
I hope I can get that shot in there, being a Peanuts fan myself. But you have to make choices, and I had to cut that one shot, and it was during the montage where they're explaining the idea of behind putting this musical together, this festival. Um, and what's funny though is I feel like a lot of people get so into the visuals that they're not hearing what's being said there, of like why they're doing it and what the theory is and how it's going to work. Because that really connects to when we finally see everybody show up. Um, Again, I went off on a tangent.
I've got another question. I don't mean to be dominating here if anybody else has other questions, but you mentioned melancholy earlier. And
Yeah.
in this server, one thing that we've kind of been wondering to ourselves, because we've seen, and I know that you haven't directed every single special, obviously,
Right.
but we've seen the characterization and the melancholy get uh, gradually better with each iteration of these new Wild Brain specials. So it'd be really curious to know if that's been a concerted effort on the part of the writing team, the directing team. Like, all right,
Yeah.
we've got to make sure that there's some melancholy here, that the tone's right.
Yeah.
If you have to go back in and change something because it just doesn't feel quite right tonally, it'd be
Right.
really interesting further elaboration if you're willing.
Yeah. Um, I feel like yes, we're motivated, we're inspired by the original cartoons, but also there's moments in the strips that Charlie Brown is wrestling with some existential stuff, and I think he's one of the few characters, cartoon characters, that has had depression. And I think that he is a character that we relate to because not everything is a win. And I don't think that, I think we're living in a time where kids and the audience has experienced more. And I think that there's more awareness of depression, that it was okay to take them there, whereas other things couldn't. And also, I think it connected more with the strips. So, with that, conversations with Craig and Brian and Neil are all about that. Like, we can now take Charlie Brown into this other territory. And part of it is, we're living in a world now that's much more complex. And, friends of mine who have kids, and their anxiety and their worry is, I think, so much more than when I was a kid. And,
Yeah.
that I think for them to see, listen, I love a lot of animation, but there's a lot of stuff out there that I can't watch anymore because it's just, there's a formula and there's an algorithm, and it's like everybody's happy, everybody's bright, everybody's delivering the same line with a cadence that's supposed to be a joke, even if it's not a joke. And with these characters, and I think that's why I really try to make an effort. I wanted to come back to this because you can't do that in anything else. You can do that in Pixar movies, obviously, and Disney and some stuff, but I think this is a 2D show, and Charlie Brown has that three-dimensional quality to it. Yeah, Chris Ware, that cartoonist, he has Jimmy Corrigan, the smartest boy in the world, and he kind of looks like Charlie Brown. He had said in an interview that, Peanuts was the first alt comic, and he's so true. He's so right. And for me, like, Snoopy, the cartoons that was my entry point. And then around Cal Arts College, I started collecting a lot of the books and rediscovering Peanuts. And I think that's what drew me to it. Because I was also getting into like Love and Rockets and um, Lloyd Llewellyn and all of those like alt comics. And then that happened, and it was like, it never really occurred to me to call it an alt comic, but it was, and you start to read it differently and understand what Linus is saying, and Charlie Brown, even Lucy. I mean, Lucy to me always felt like the system. The football, it's the system, and you got to keep that football, and it takes it away from you. The house always wins. And I think that's, of course, Charles Schultz is doing this for the newspapers, and it's a lot of adults who are reading that, and so that makes sense. And so that's the melancholy that's in there. I don't know if we were trying to progress it, but I think that it just was like, that's the time we're living in, so let's tackle it. And there's no other animation, I think, where we're able to do that.
I think that everything you've said there is quite fascinating, especially when you said earlier on, or as you were saying generally, even it's about the state of the world and whether animation can reflect that accurately. It reminds me of what Maxwell Atoms wrote. Actually, Maxwell Atoms wrote a few times, creator of Billy and Mandy and other animations. He wrote rather cynically. I don't know if everyone's familiar with some of the things he wrote rather cynically, that the reason why and I think you alluded to this, you can't watch these like chirpy formulaic cartoons anymore is because the world kind of sucks now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
and it just bears no relation to your experience and your lived experience.
yeah, it's very true. I think also I got to tell you, it's this. We finished this in 2000 in 23, November 23, and I think at least America was in a better place, and now the world just feels like it's in chaos. And there was times when I was telling my wife, we're like, I wish this was coming out and the world was better.
Exactly.
But at the same time, we kind of need it. And then I saw the trailer that Apple made, and it was like, band together, like we can change the world. And I was like, That's cool. You know, I think also because of those conversations too with Ben, you know, we will have these serious conversations and we'll talk about a lot of metaphor and subtext that's happening in those lyrics. And he said in a few interviews where he's like, don't talk down to these kids. They know, you know, they know. And this is also part of the growth. And, you know, we thought maybe we were being a little covert about it, but I think everybody got it and went along with it. When we saw that trailer, we were like, they got it. Like they know like what we're saying because it's the camp is just a metaphor. It's just a metaphor for everybody's home, for you know our planet, and you know even those things in their homes, you know, in their neighborhood, you know. But it means so much more.
I've got another question for you, and it's
Oh, yeah.
another thing that we've been speculating here in the server with some of these new Wild Brain specials regarding the setting,
Oh,
because Peanuts is a strip that's, you know, it's been around from 1950 to 2000, so that's 5 decades of different eras and styles and settings that Schultz used throughout his comic strip. In these new Wild Brain specials, are they meant to take place during a specific time between 1950 and 2000, or is it just is it a mix of all of the 5 different decades? Like I'm personally I'm very curious about that. If you have any insight.
In my mind, it's like 68 to like 74 maybe. That's kind of where I'm at, you know, when you know we have all the comics on our server and those are the ones that I was looking at the most.
Awesome, cool. Yeah, I'd imagine it's probably different for each of the different directors in that sense.
You know, we're all very close and we've known each other for a really long time, and that's what I think we all feel the same way. I think
And
I think all of us have that space.
like I don't think this is my question. No, it's not my question, but like I think like Craig Schultz said like there's gonna be like another musical or something. Like, are you like involved in that too or no?
Maybe we're talking about it.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
That's
Hey.
probably all. That's probably all I can say.
So
Okay.
it
NDA, I
makes
see.
it does make a lot of sense, you know, going back to what you've said about, you know, things are being, you know, society at large is more complex and, you know, you want to make something that kind of reflects that complexity with like, you know, some of the messages you want to bring forward. I do think it is I do think it's really great that you're doing this because in my perspective, um, it just feels like a lot of entertainment, not children's entertainment, because I don't really see Peanuts as being children's entertainment. It's a family all ages thing. But that being said, I do see a lot of media that tries to, in some way, push forward these messages to be very like saccharine.
Yeah,
To us, like so I think someone in the service has too much positive toxicity or something.
that's good.
Um,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
yeah, I do
yeah.
enjoy that approach.
That's great. I think that from the very beginning, that's what Greg, Brian, and Neil were really all about. Like they just really are such passionate filmmakers, and they really want to make those things that are going to move you, and that aren't like basic cartoons. It is, you know, they want it to be for the family. That you know, I think you know the other interesting thing about Peanuts is that I grew up with it. I have that, and I think there's this nostalgia for it as an adult. Like I was saying, like you know, you sort of grow with it, and you start to see more layers of it. And I think the kids are somewhere in this new place because they're kids, and their entry point is also Snoopy. And then they also have you know the stuff that's going on with the other characters, and I think that that's where we can get deeper. Um, and you know. I think I kind of lost track of where I was going. I tend to do that, but yeah, I think that's why it has a wide range. It's not just for kids, and we don't talk down to kids. And the Schultzes wanted it to be a deeper, more film-like, you know, product. I hate to say that word. No, product's not the right word. Series of films. This is fun. It's nice talking to really real, like,
Yeah,
nuts
it's very nice.
Yeah.
To
Where's
Yeah,
real? Eric?
it must feel great. After being under wraps all this time. I mean, I guess critics have seen it in the past weeks.
They had, yeah, they had seen it. I think like a month or two in advance, and then like with all of the studios, it's like there's an embargo, and then some had like released it early, and then they were like, no, bring it back, like within like hours or something. So
Unlisted
the-
YouTube videos.
one more
They
time.
broke.
and also, kind of lost track. Dang it.
Dude, it happens to me all the time.
I
No,
just
What's your like favorite
I'm
like
super ADD, so
Peanut
don't worry
special?
about it.
What's your favorite Peanut special? Mine's a Stupid Musical.
Listen, it's gonna have to be the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
I love that one too.
Pikachu.
oh man,
Pikachu.
that is absolutely classic. Yeah.
Yeah, and the one that doesn't get enough love is the Easter one.
Honestly,
Yes.
I totally agree. That's our
Yeah.
opinion here. That
Yeah.
If I had to
Going to
like
the
choose
mall
one,
is-
it would had to be like Jesus, I have a lot of DVDs.
Yeah, I mean, the top five for everybody. The Christmas special.
I had to say like the spring training one was my at least like third favorite.
there's so many.
Yeah.
I know there's like
Yeah.
45 when you exclude the newer ones because well I don't know if those count really because they're not TV anymore.
Right.
I guess
I
they
don't
count.
know. I don't know if they consider it, because I think that I don't want to be one of those people that's like it's a different universe, but there is a sense of it. I don't
I
think
kind of
anybody has
consider it
said that out loud.
like a reboot almost.
Yeah, yeah, maybe it is, and maybe that's a good thing. Even though we're all fans of it, and we did reference and look at it, but I think that we were maybe. Listen, I don't know if I'm tooting my or maybe it's like whatever, but I do feel like we were looking at those comic strips more than the Melendez stuff. And by the
Yeah,
way,
yeah.
I'm
I've
a
always
huge
been
fan
a
of this.
Melendez fan like for like a
Yeah.
while. I always kind of admired the stuff like it makes me want to work for Peanuts someday.
Yeah, well, and that's why I want to hang on to it. I love it. I love being in that world.
Yeah,
When I
I'm planning
lost
on to
picture,
like save some like work on my portfolio. Like if like Wildbrain like, hey, we saw your like art, we want to hire you, like whatever.
That's the dream, right?
right,
Yeah.
right,
I
and
just want to be like a
that's why I don't want
storyboard
to leave it.
artist or like
Yeah,
a yeah. I just want to be like a storyboard artist or
yeah,
like a concept artist. Like
right,
not
right,
too
right.
much, just
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah, like you're saying, being in the Peanuts world, it's like to be able to draw those characters is what a pleasure, what an honor, to do that. And I hope to go back someday. I think when I locked picture and you're saying goodbye to everybody, it's emotional because you've been in it. And I said this in an interview where I said, listen, this is what I'm going to say is abstract, and it may sound absolutely nuts, but when you're in it, you sometimes feel like you're in it, like you're having conversations with Charlie Brown, with Lucy and with Snoopy.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And you start to dream
Absolutely.
it. You have to, I think, as a filmmaker, you have to just go beyond the frame and be in it, and I feel like with so many projects I do, that's what ends up happening. Anyway, yeah, so didn't want
Yeah,
to leave it.
yeah.
Didn't ever
It's
want it
like
to end.
having a sort of chat with them to understand where you want to go, basically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I do have like a thought when you were talking about like how you were like composing the music, and you mentioned Fiona Apple. That's very
Yeah.
interesting. She has a very raw approach to her
Yeah.
instrumentation. Like
Yeah.
just like her first 2 albums alone, just
Yeah.
showcases
Great.
that. And she's in the same era of like Ben Folds, and Ben Folds has a very unique take on his piano. So it's just very interesting and great actually that you mentioned her in the
You know,
same like realm and title as Ben.
I love the raw recording. There's a punk rock quality to it. There's a punk
Exactly.
rock quality to Ben Folds. I think Ben Folds 5 was like punk rock piano, like post-punk piano. And I have to
Yeah.
say the same thing for Fiona Apple. It's post-punk goth piano raw recordings, and just dirty mics and a dirty piano. And that was another conversation with Ben at one time. He was like, I got this piano, it's beat up, and maybe we'll do it on that. You're like, yeah. Or like for Look Up, like, and I forgot the organ, what it was that he was using. We had conversations about that too. I'm a little bit of a music, like a gear nerd also. Um, and that stuff is cool to just know that he's gonna like record something a certain way. And even though I don't do music, I don't know why, but I'm so into that stuff. And that was cool. And that's the only reason why I would reference to Craig and Brian and everybody else, like just things like Fiona. Even though I knew Ben is going to do Ben, and I love what Ben does, I just wanted to surround myself with all of that, and get ideas and just sort of pitch things out to Ben. But yeah.
I want to add that Peanuts is the first thing I think of when I hear punk rock.
Yeah. I said I had to make a Joy Division Peanuts shirt.
That's awesome.
I'm sure.
That
I'm
is very
sure.
cool.
I'm sure there's an unknown pleasures like Snoopy T-shirts somewhere around the internet.
All right.
Right? I know. Maybe I'll make
Edie
one.
Hammond.
Yeah.
I've actually got another question for you.
Yeah.
One thing with these newer specials, a consistent aspect to them is the, at least for the most part, is the Snoopy B plot. And to that end, I'm just kind of wondering if there's any unique challenges in terms of like you have to write half of your special with voiced kids, and the storytelling comes through that way, and then the other half you have basically a silent film, not literally, but you don't have any words with Woodstock and Snoopy. And in terms of like combining those two, bringing them together for one complete product, I'm wondering if you have any unique sort of takes on what that's like to direct for Snoopy.
Sure. Two things I could tell you. I think I had an opportunity to work at Illumination for a while doing commercials, and part of what I was doing was and also a bunch of 2D shorts was with Minions, and they don't speak, and they're just a lot of like gibberish, and it was really cool. And so you go into that territory of Laurel and Hardy, where a lot of the stuff is pantomime. R2D2, you kind of know what he's saying, and so that was. And also, listen, like I said, I grew up with Snoopy also, and it's just kind of already there in my DNA. And so what was fun is going through the library of Snoopy and what you have, and you go like, okay, we got to find something that sounds like he's emoting this, and there's like 400 plus little bits of Snoopy, and you collage them together. But my theory with Snoopy and the stuff with the Peanuts gang was, oh my gosh, I'm going to forget her name. She's the writer and creator of Fleabag.
Oh, I don't even know that.
Hold on. Fleabag.
What's Fleabag?
Fleabag is an awesome show. It's a British show.
Oh,
And it's so raw and cool. Phoebe Waller-Bridge. She's one of my favorite
that's her?
writers. Yeah, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, and she had a quote of disarm them with comedy, and then hit them in the with emotion. And I something that really resonated with me, and that's how I treated Snoopy. Was let's make a fun Spielberg, you know, cartoon that sort of fits in there and make sure that that story does collide with Charlie Brown. And I think that that's why it also pays off when he goes to hold his hand, is that while he's the silly character, he still has that deep emotion for, his guy. And so that was my theory going into it, is disarm them with comedy and then realize that he has a lot of heart for Charlie Brown.
Ah, okay.
This is
Um,
fun. And nobody asks me these questions. And
Well, we take it pretty
fun,
serious
Yeah.
here.
it's
Yeah,
fun. It's
this is
fun
a
film fan stuff because I'm a big film nerd, and so all these things that whenever I go to Comic Con and I ask those questions too, it's nice to have you guys who are deep into it have this conversation.
this
If
yeah.
there's any
is
more,
the
I'm down for it.
this is the Peanuts server after all, so we're
Yeah,
all pretty invest. We're
I
all pretty
kind of consider
invested.
this like server like semi-official
yeah.
because like there's like a Schultz Museum curator. It's spelled like the U, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, we have Ben
Okay.
Clark here in case you talk to him on the regular. He's awesome at the Schultz Museum. Benjamin
I
Clark.
have not.
Yeah,
I
yeah. He
have
definitely
not.
found like a obscure
But
commercial. That one.
Yeah.
What I like about Knott's ad. He
Uh-huh.
helped me find.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I've not not met Ben. I've not met Ben before. Hi, Ben. I am going to go to the Schultz Museum September 6th. Craig
Oh,
has
that's awesome.
arranged. Craig has arranged for screening and a talk, a Q&A at the end. So if anybody is in Santa Rosa, go check it out.
too late, too late.
Somebody here just
I
went
was
to
in
Beagle Fest.
Santa Rosa the other
I'll
week.
probably go next year. I think a trip from
Yeah.
Rome it's gonna be
Oh
pretty
no, I'm too
expensive.
broke, man.
Aren't we all?
But Benjamin's a wonderful person to meet.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I
He
was
is a really nice guy.
starstruck at first.
Yeah, I'm going to meet him for the first time, actually, in person next week. Everything that we've
Oh,
done
that's
has been
cool.
Awesome.
everything's been through Zoom.
You
Yeah.
should tell him how awesome this server is.
Okay, I'll let him know. I'll let him know. For
In
sure.
truth, he might tell you how awesome this server is.
Right.
Who knows?
This isn't
Cool.
as deep as a question as some of the others, I guess. But in some of the other interviews, they've asked Craig and Brian and the like, sort of about their favorite Peanuts characters. And I think you mentioned Charlie Brown in yours.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you mind going a bit more into
Sure.
how you feel connected to Charlie Brown more than the rest of the cast? Because I know everybody here sort of has their own favorite guy
Yeah.
that they connect with.
Yeah, like German.
I couldn't quite answer that question with just saying one, but I'll say it was Charlie Brown and
You could say
Snoopy.
multiple.
And the reason for it is that, I think that a lot of things that Charlie Brown wrestles with, I wrestle with, but also I think that there's this part of me that's this cartoonist of being silly. Without it, I don't think I could have done SpongeBob. I think that there's this, with that child that's still in me that can do silly stuff, that wants to go do silly stuff and can do silly, dumb jokes. And that's a place that I go to. And I think a lot of cartoonists are like that too. A lot of my friends who I'm still in touch with, I also did SpongeBob right after Peanuts. And it was kind of like, let's try to get the old crew together. And so we came together, and it's just silliness. There's a lot of silliness, but there's also the realities of life and discovering that, not everything is a win. And, being an observer and, being a cartoonist is also an animator, is being an observer. And, maybe being, you know, we're empathetic and being empathetic to a lot of other people's feelings, maybe you take on too much of it. And I think that I've seen that with Charlie Brown and that's why I love him. I think it's relating to him on that level. So that's what I see. That's why I feel like that sometimes.
Interesting.
It's raining here for me, so sorry if that's in the background.
I don't hear it. Hopefully, you don't hear my dog. My
Nope,
cat.
I do not.
Yeah, sorry about my fan in the background. It's like hot in Ohio.
I don't hear it. So everybody's like all over the world. Where some of you guys? Yeah, where are you?
The owner of our server, Anjum, who is amazing and also created the peanut search, if you've used that before, is from the United Kingdom.
Angela, hey man.
Hey, yes. As Nern mentioned, I set up this server. I also created peanuts-search.com. I don't know if you're familiar with that site, but it's a tool.
I am familiar and I've used it.
That is so
Excellent.
cool.
Awesome. That's so great.
Yeah.
Well,
I am-
I'm pleased to hear.
Yeah.
And anyone else want to?
Well, where are you?
introduce
Are you in the UK?
I'm from the UK. Yes.
Okay.
That's
Are you
right.
there now?
Yeah. So I should just give some context. I'm British. But incidentally, I visited the States for the first time in my life the past week, or past 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And that was for, I don't know if you're familiar with Beagle Fest, Peanuts
I'm
Collector
not.
Club Beagle Fest. Well, it's kind of a social event.
Yes, I actually just heard about it recently. Okay.
for a
Okay.
gathering of Peanuts fans, and it took place in Santa Rosa this year, as it does every other event. And yeah, that was mega. That I got to visit the Schultz Museum, where, as I was sort of alluding to there, first met Benjamin Clark, as you're about to meet
Okay.
Benjamin Clark soon. Fabulous guy. Met a whole bunch of other people, and yeah, I don't want to get too mopey, I guess, but this special came in a really important time for my life, basically, because I saw the various trailers came out when I was at Beagle Fest, and this was kind of like almost like sensory overload, because a whole load of other stuff
Oh,
was
it's
going
Pluto.
on. Hey, please say.
Yeah.
Whole bunch of others.
Yeah, she is a massive.
Whole
Like, no, he is a massive Woodstock fan.
Oh yeah. Hi.
yeah.
Really quickly, where in the
I
UK
thought it was
are you?
amazing.
Hi. It kind of there's a little lag on your thing. Pleasure to meet you.
Andrum is from the
Sorry
UK.
about the lag.
Yeah, it kind of
Yeah,
lags.
there's-
Kind of cut in and out.
Pluto is upstaging me.
Where in the UK are
Yeah,
you?
Pluto.
I'm
this
from
is
outside
like,
of London.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's a
I
place
don't
called
know why.
Hampshire.
like the new special.
Yes. Sorry, Blueberry. What's your question?
Oh no, I was talking to Pluto. Like, if you're running Who You Are, I'm just saying that you're the like musical writer for like the new special.
I don't think I quite understood that. It was just a little bit crackly. Did you say that
Yeah,
again?
yeah. Sorry, it's just
Okay.
yeah, maybe the fan line.
Everyone in the server are like different. They're from all over the world, and they're like different ages. Yeah, it's
Okay,
great.
cool.
That's
Yeah.
a lot of
Oh,
We're,
they-
we're a wide variety.
Yeah. What was I saying? So, Eric, you asked me where in the UK I'm from. Is that right?
Yes. I listen.
Yeah. So
I lived in.
I come from a place called Hampshire, which is a
Okay.
county outside of London.
Yeah.
Jane Austen County. That's what I
Okay.
can relate it to.
Okay.
Um,
That's not that far from London.
no,
It's
not
it's
not
pretty
at
cool.
all.
Yeah. I lived in Paris for 2 years. I was there to produce a Disney show, and we had to go up to London to record our voice actors. I
Yeah.
loved London, and did a train and just went all over the place. And I think I remember kind of where you're at.
Well, was it any particular studio? Was it like the Air Studio, or was it?
No, it was a small.
London has some famous studios, recording studios.
I don't think it was. I don't think it was famous.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I know, not one of the awesome ones. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you
yeah.
have any other unique non? I was going to say
Yeah,
non-American, but that's kind of offending.
No, it's not. No, it's not. But you know what, you guys?
Interesting locations.
Yeah. Listen,
I mean, I'm in
go
the
ahead.
I'm in the capital. I'm in the capital. I'm from Washington, D.C.
Oh.
Right now, I'm like in the Fredericksburg area, but like I go to Arlington and Stafford. But like, yeah, I'm from the D.C. area.
Oh, okay,
So
cool. I've never been to DC. Have a lot of friends in DC and just, never got around. My wife was from DC, and so it's kind of like, when are we going to go? And each time we're going to go, there's like a project that like would sideswipe that plan, or, but yeah, it's got to be humid right now, right?
well, the thing is about DC, not I know you have mentioned that the the timing of like the special that was finished in like 23 and what's been going on now. I think
Yeah,
what's going on in DC is we're in a very interesting space right now
yeah,
where
we are.
I kind of tell people, oh, I want to visit DC. It's like not right now, please
Yeah,
don't. So
yeah, yeah.
I was just about to say, I think Gimmo is from Italy. I
Yeah,
understand.
Oh,
I live in Rome actually. So
oh,
hi,
beautiful,
nice to
wonderful.
meet
Hi,
you.
pleasure to meet you, Kim. Pleasure to meet you. How
Hi.
are you?
I'm doing great. How about you? It's
Doing
almost 2 a.m.
okay.
here, but we're just sitting here.
Wow. Well, thanks for joining us. I
It's 1
appreciate
a.m.
No,
it.
here.
bro.
Is it? Right. Of course it is. Well, listen, then I'm actually kind of exhausted. It's been an amazing 48 hours. And I'm sure, for you guys, it's super late. This was so enjoyable and so much fun to talk to real diehard fans and who just watched it. And I'm glad that you guys really liked it. That means quite a lot to me.
Look, hey, Eric, thank you so much for
Thank
joining us.
you.
It's been overwhelming. We were blown away by that one post you shared of me joining up in the Discord server. Anyway, yeah, really enjoyed your time. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't
Wildland
even
was
ask how
also
your
very
day
exciting.
was.
My day was fantastic.
No, absolutely.
It was
I hope
like
it was.
Christmas to me. Yeah, I think to see reviews, you work hard and you just hope that people like it, and to see that there's some really good reviews from all over the world, um, that's cool. And also something that I had no idea, no expectations of, was that, it reached #1 in the top 10 movies.
Yeah, that's so
On
happy for
wow,
Apple.
you, man.
Thank you.
that's amazing.
And I didn't
Yeah,
think of it as like they were going to put it in the film category, and they did, and that was another cool thing. So yeah, I'm in the clouds.
It's
Excellent.
understandable. It's a really big achievement to have a
Thank you.
special you worked
Um,
on.
Eric, just to,
yeah.
wait, go
We've
on.
never had anything like this in this.
Mm.
Well, oh, nothing
Well,
that touches this. This has
thank you.
been a very unique experience for all of us, I think.
Me too. Me too. And
And Eric,
listen. Oh, yes, yes.
is that like a Pee Wee Herman doll in like the background?
I have two of them behind me. Pee-wee plays a
Oh,
very
I
big
just
role
wanted
in
to
my
say
life
that
too.
my mom and her brother and which is my uncle, watch and has been like a fan of it for like a while.
Oh, I mean, he was a genius. If you haven't seen the documentary on him on HBO, it's so moving. It's so moving, and what happened to him is just a hit job by an awful person. And
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
his
sorry to hear that.
death was
he's
sad.
yeah. Check it out if you haven't seen it. And I actually have gotten to
I
know.
might.
Yeah, oh, it's absolutely wonderful. If you don't have HBO, just get it for that and then cancel it.
I think I have like the Hulu expansion, so it might be on there. I'm not sure.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right, everybody, listen, I'm gonna head out of here. If there's ever another cool thing, invite me. I'd love to see you guys again, and tell
Yeah.
everybody to
Oh,
watch
You're
We
it.
would love
welcome to
that.
be
What,
here
what,
whenever you want to. So
yeah, no worries.
Awesome.
one thing I want to just
Yeah.
say thank you to Gimmo and Rango. Can I call you by your real name, Rango? But yeah, thank you to you. Thank you to Rango for actually, I believe
Thank
he
you very
actually
much.
kind of
tamed you into this server.
Yes, and I really appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Rango is, by the way, super talented. I think you might have
Yeah.
followed him on social media or something along those lines.
Yeah. He's like
Instagram.
extremely talented. Like he draws like the peanut style really well.
Rango is extremely talented. So if you ever are able to pass his art in anybody's direction, he is extremely worth it. He's a great guy.
He's
All right,
loaded.
cool.
He also does commissions too.
Well, we'll talk more then.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, what just
before
happened?
you go, I'm just gonna give you one quick tip. Take a look at the art channel once in a while because you're gonna find some amazing stuff over there. Trust me.
Okay. Okay.
So, yeah,
send
seriously.
me a link through Instagram.
It's
Okay.
on the server. There's a text channel, so you just
Listen,
find it
I'll
here.
tell you, I'm a newbie to this. I've only been on Discord
Fair
300
enough.
times, and that was so long ago. So like my navigating in here is like I don't know it. So, but I am an Instagram nerd. So if you guys want to give me information on that, and that way maybe I'll get warmed up to doing more Discord. That would be probably my way.
I also
right.
might do like a Snoopy the Musical stream maybe. If
Oh, that would
that's
be fun.
possible.
Since I haven't seen it in a really
Because
long time.
I have like a Chinese DVD and it's in perfect quality, like
Ooh.
excellent quality.
Oh, let's watch it.
Yeah. I think
All
I'll
right.
stream it around September.
All right, let's do that sometime. Invite me.
Bye.
All right, bye, you guys. Have a good night,
All right,
or
thank
have a
you
good
for
morning.
coming, everyone.
Or, yeah.
Thank you.
here.
Yeah, man.
Bye, everybody.